as the axe fell. The imperial tent was full of rich fabrics and rare wood, all the comforts the emperor could not do without on campaign. Theodosius sat with his head bent over a solid oak desk, making scratch marks on a wax tablet, his scalp pink with sunburn. Alaric thought of the bent backs, the sweat and suffering that had brought the emperor's desk this far. At length, Theodosius spoke. "Your report?" "By my reckon, we lost 10,000. The emperor's hand stilled. "Tell me how you managed to lose half of the Federati." "The scouts told us that the rim was clear. It wasn't. The archers picked us off like turtles in a bucket." "And you lost 10,000 of my Gothic troops!" Theodosius set his stylus down and regarded him coldly. Eyes narrowed like a merchant who suspected weevils in the grain. "Stilicho says that without your valor we would all be meat for the crows. But I know that God won us this war. He was the one who sent the wind." "Emperor, with respect," Alaric said flatly, "your God did not suffer and die to win you that valley. And it serves you to credit him, since he asks neither payment nor land in return." "You have a lot of nerve," Theodosius frowned. "Perhaps you do not realize you are speaking to your greatest ally, Alaric. I've defended you before the Senate, and you've done nothing to make my work easier. Your people are ungovernable. They pillage when they should be farming. I visit your camps to find women and children wandering about in a war zone. If I granted your people land now, how would I know they would farm it rather than simply using it as a base for plunder?" "They would not have to follow my army if they had land of their own. If the women and children had somewhere safe to go, I've offered to settle them in camps." Over his steaming corpse. "People die like rats in those camps. How do you think it will look to the Senate if I settled 10,000 armed Goths in the Danube Valley so soon after Eugenius turned? If your people turned to pillaging honest Romans, I'd expect to be stoned in the streets." Theodosius paused to pour himself wine, offering none. "Eugenius was part Frankish, you know." "My people are Tervingi. That isn't even the same tribe." "You know that, and I know that. But to the Senate and the people, you are all the same." Theodosius picked up his stylus and resumed his scratchings. "You are dismissed. You will keep your current position, but only because the Federati are loyal to you. Be grateful for my generosity." Alaric felt his teeth clench, as if it were not abundantly clear how the Romans saw his people. Barbarians, all of them. The Romans could give them the trappings, but in the end, it was his people in the valley fighting more of his people and the Romans reaping the reward. Stilicho would want him to bow and scrape, to make a conciliatory gesture toward the emperor's god. But he would fear no little man in a tent. Not after what he'd lived through. "How long do you think I can keep the Federati loyal, Emperor?" Alaric said quietly. "If they are not paid in full." Theodosius's eyes snapped up. "Is that a threat?" "When I make a threat, you will know it." For a moment, everything stilled. In the emperor's face was the usual calm disdain. Something made Alaric glance at his upraised hand. It trembled. The emperor feared him. Suddenly Alaric understood. Theodosius had known he would walk into a slaughter. And Stilicho had given the order. To thin out his numbers against future rebellion. They both thought he'd be next to turn. Deliberately, Theodosius put down his stylus. "You'll do well to remember whose camp you are in," he said evenly, "and whose guards are just outside."